What's up, everybody? It's me, DisBearity, and I got some news for you. Larian Studios will not be making a Baldur's Gate 3 DLC or expansion or even Baldur's Gate 4, but they will be making something better. Now let's get on into it. So in this article by IGN, at the Game Developers Conference, or GDC, Larian Studios founded Swen dropped something of a bombshell by revealing that the developer isn't planning to release any expansions or DLC for Baldur's Gate 3, nor a Baldur's Gate 4. Instead, Vic said at the panel, Larian plans to move away from Dungeons & Dragons entirely and do something new, leaving the IP and publisher Wizards of the Coast's hands. And the reason why he stated it just like that, by the way, is because Swen is trying or is going to be severing ties with Wizards of the Coast and also Hasbro's, because a lot of the, I guess you call it, the political backness of what's going on between the two companies. It's a big surprise considering the massive success of Baldur's Gate 3, with many fans assuming that a DLC or expansion would be on the way. Larian has released several major free patches that have added, among other things, a playable epilogue party. Larian also has commented about the possibility of doing a DLC in the past. Speaking to IGN at Gamescom 2023, senior product manager at Larian, Tom Butler, said they had discussions on doing more Baldur's Gate 3, although they were focused on patches then. Now this goes with another article made by IGN that stated that Larian started work on a Baldur's Gate 3 DLC, but then they canceled it. The studio was elated. So that's an interesting take, and we'll get to that one in just a sec. Continue on. We'll carry on patching for a while, and then we're going to take a holiday, and then we'll figure out what to do next, Butler said at the time. But at the moment, we're genuinely have discussions we want to do more. We don't know what yet. Beyond that, however, Larian has never officially said more Baldur's Gate 3 was on the way. As previously mentioned, though, plenty of new content has been added to the hit RPG since last year's August launch. And there's so much in the massive game already that the physical edition comes in at 4 discs. The developers are currently working on a robust cross-platform mod support plan to accommodate additions from the community as well. The first and second Baldur's Gate games were developed by BioWare before Baldur's Gate 3. Larian was best known for developing the Divinity series. Seems like Larian's next project could be another Divinity entry. In an interview with IGN shortly before the release of Baldur's Gate 3, Vic said a Divinity Original Sin sequel was definitely on the horizon, but the team needed to work through Baldur's Gate 3 first. Now, apparently though, it's been clarified that in another interview with IGN, of course, that their next project won't be Divinity Original Sin 3, saying it will be a different than what you think it is, but it's still familiar. It's unclear if Hasbro, which owns Wizards of the Coast, will look to another developer for potential Baldur's Gate 4, but the property has no doubt been hugely successful for them. It was revealed last month that Hasbro was made a whopping $90 million off Baldur's Gate 3. In addition to the financial success, Baldur's Gate 3 has been a huge hit among fans and critics as well, winning the top prize at last year's Game of the Year awards, and getting 10 out of 10 from several outlets including IGN. With that stated, Larian Studios is just looking to cut ties with Wizards of the Coast because a lot of people who they worked with in the past don't work there anymore, especially throughout that 6-year development cycle of Baldur's Gate 3. And with Hasbro being as greedy as they are, they basically made a lot of money off Baldur's Gate 3, cut a lot of people off, and said, hey, profit over, I guess, people. I don't know how to really phrase that, but you kind of get what I'm saying here. And so Larian felt that as though, I'm not going to work with you guys anymore because you just like to cut people out for profit, which is understandable. I get what their point of view is, because it kind of sucks that you're working with these people that you've been knowing for years and years and years. Just say, hey, well, we're not, Hasbro's cutting us away. We're not going to be working for you, for Wizards of the Coast anymore. Sorry, Swen, it's goodbye from here, So I get what they're going with there, It's out of solidarity with your fellow coworkers, so I do appreciate that. Now let's go over to the Baldur's Gate 4, or they were elating to the DLC and also Baldur's Gate 4. So now I'm on to this topic here, where Larian Studios started to work on Baldur's Gate 3 DLC and then canceled. The studio was elated. During a talk at GDC 2024, Baldur's Gate 3 director Swen announced that Larian Studios would not be making any DLC, expansions, or sequels for the highly regarded RPG, which took home another Game of the Year award at the Wednesday's Game Developers Choice Awards. However, speaking of IGN, Vic did say that Larian began work on DLC and even gave some thought on a potential Baldur's Gate 4 before pivoting away to other projects. Because of all the success, the obvious thing would have been to do a DLC, so we started on one. We even thinking about Baldur's Gate 4, Vic says, but we hadn't really had a closure on Baldur's Gate 3 yet, and just to jump forward on something new felt wrong. We also had spent a whole bunch of time converting the system into a video game and wanted to do some new things. There are a lot of constraints on making D&D, and 5th edition is not an easy system to put into a video game. We had all these ideas of new combat we wanted to try out, and they were not compatible. Vic has spoken before about the challenges about working with the 5th edition, particularly when it comes to how powerful players get when they reach level 12 and beyond. Shortly after release, Larian Studios said that the team wanted to do new content, but didn't know what yet. To date, Larian Studios has mostly focused on adding content that wasn't available at release, such as new epilogue and additional endings. When it came time to make DLC though, Vic says that Larian was going through the motions. You could see the team was doing it because everyone felt like we had to do it, but wasn't really coming from the heart. And we are very much a studio from the heart. It's what's gotten us into misery, and it's been the reasons for our success. Continuing on, Vic says that he took a vacation over the Christmas holidays, and when he returned, his mind was made up. I came back and I told the team, we're not going to do it. We're going to shift around, and we're going to start doing these other things that we talked about, that we planned on doing before we started on Baldurs Gate 3. Those were always the plans for afterward. We have 2 games that we want to make, and we have a lot of concepts. So let's just have closure on Baldurs Gate 3. It's been great. We've done our job. It's a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. So let's pass the torch to another studio to pick up the incredible legacy. So asked how the studio responded, Vic said the team was elated. I thought they were going to be angry at me because I just couldn't muster the energy. I saw so many elated faces, which I didn't expect. And I could tell that they shared the same feelings. So we were all aligned with one another and had so many developers come to me after and say, thank God, Vic says. I'm always the one where it starts with the initial idea and then give it to the team and they start iterating it and they turn it into something much better. During Baldur's Gate 3, I pitched to them what the next game would be. If I see they're excited, I'll say, okay, let's do it. If they're not, it's back to the drawing board. So they were very excited about a couple of things we were planning on doing. Then pivot to start doing Baldur's Gate 3 DLC was expected because it's what you do. We didn't have any antagonism against BG4 or DLC, but the heart wasn't there. It was more routine work than actually being excited. Now we have excitement back in the room, and that's the big important thing. Okay? Vic says the next game won't be Divinity Original Sin 3, and that it will be different than what you think it is, but it's still familiar elsewhere. Vic said that the new project will dwarf the scope of Baldur's Gate 3, which will be quite impressive given the scope of that game. In the meantime, Vic has confirmed that Larian Studios is still working on a new content for Baldur's Gate 3, including cross-platform mod support. After that, though, the future of Astarion, Karlach, and the rest of Baldur's Gate 3 is now beloved characters will be in the hands of Wizards of the Coast. One way or another, Baldur's Gate 3 leaves behind an impressive legacy. We gave it a perfect 10 in our original review and had strongly swept award seasons. Even if you finished it, there's still plenty more to see, so make sure to check out the completed course Baldur's Gate 3 walkthrough. As for Vic, he reckons he's figured out Act 1 for his next game, but if it's anything like the development of Baldur's Gate 3, which took 6 years to complete, it may be a while before we get to play it. So even though I'm quite sad that we're not going to get that Avernus DLC, I do understand again where Larian is coming from, and that they do want to cut ties with Wizards of the Coast, and they want to go on and do their own projects. Now, I am excited that their bigger projects, or the project they are working on, is going to be a bigger, and let's say like a bigger scope than Baldur's Gate 3. Now, as you guys know, it's going to take another 6 years or maybe 7 years of development. So I do hope in some case, at least in my personal opinion, that I hope that they are working on Divinity Original Sin 3 while also working on this new project at the same time. At least, let's say like a scope of like, let's say 25% versus 75% of the new game, something like that, so we can get both games in an evenly timed manner. But no, that's probably not going to be the case because, crunch and all that kind of stuff, Swin doesn't want to do. But with all this said, though, I am pleased that I played and enjoyed Baldur's Gate 3 myself. I love the game. I put many hours into it. Hell, even doing a third playthrough as of right now with friends, and it's been just a blast. So I hope that whatever Larian does in the future, that it surprises a lot of people, and they have my full support because they are one of my favorite companies to actually play their games and buy their products. So you guys let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about Baldur's Gate 3 not getting any featured DLC or Baldur's Gate 4. And y'all think, did Larian make the right choice? If not, leave a comment down below and let me know. Thank you guys for taking on to watch and listen. Do appreciate it, and you guys have a good one. Peace out. Much love, buddy. Bye. Please leave a like and also hit the bell notification down below. Thanks for watching.